back in session. City Council are present. All members who are during our ordinance are present. Anything across?
Yes, Your Honor, just 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So I wanted to just start with the device 4, and that was the E-machine, is that correct?
Yes.
And council went over some index numbers, I think 1 through 10, is that correct?
I'm not sure if we covered all 10 of them, but yes.
Okay. And then with each one, with each index that was brought to your attention, does that represent an internet search? Do you know what I mean? Because if I'm using the wrong terminology, just let me know, okay? Because I look at it as internet search as I click on a link of some sort and it gives me all kinds of different things to choose from, and
Right.
okay. Because the terminology that was used on direct, I just want to make sure that what we're talking about here when we're talking about internet searches and so forth.
We had talked about searches and different artifacts. I guess if you could identify a particular index number that...
So we'll talk about index number 1. How about that?
Okay.
On which exhibit?
And that would be exhibit 827.
Okay.
Do you have it in front of you, or do you remember what it was? Up for the jury. So that. Okay, do you see this? Let me scoot it over a little.
I do see this.
Okay, so we have a URL number, correct?
Yes.
URL name, I should say.
Yes.
And this was attributed to Intuit, correct?
Yes.
All right.
This was not a typical internet search.
Okay. So what is it that and it says homepage here, and that was, and you actually referred to that on direct examination. So what is it that the person sitting at the keyboard is doing to generate that record, that cache? I was calling it a cache, but you said cache, right?
Yes.
I like cache better anyway.
It's easier to say.
Okay.
The user would have gone to intuit.com, and the path to the homepage suggests that the homepage is not always right at the root of the server. So when you access a web server, it can redirect it to a defined homepage, which may be in several directories extended from the root of the web server. The fact that this was cached as homepage, this would suggest that it was a homepage for the URL that was typed in.
And do I have it right that you were then shown exhibit 830, which was this document? Let's see if I can change this a little bit. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Is that what you were shown as what the home page was?
Yes.
So if I have it right, what's happening is the user acts or goes to that what you identified as that URL, and then this pops up on the computer screen. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have options here, correct? You can stop here as a user, or you can go further, correct?
Correct.
And there's various links that could be pressed to go further, correct?
Correct.
And was that done in this case?
Looking at the data that we have in front of us right now, I can't say whether or not any of those links were clicked on.
Okay.
They would have shown up as additional visited links.
Okay. Would it be somewhere in your report or your records to see whether or not the user went further than this page?
Other than, like I said, if one of those links connected to another page and the user clicked on that, within all the records of visited links, it would be recorded in there. So we would look for subsequent searches during that time frame. Or not searches, I'm sorry, subsequent visited pages during that time frame.
And when the person accessed this homepage, did they have to, and we're going back to index 1, that URL for index number 1, does the person have to type something out to get to that homepage? And I'm envisioning an internet browser, right?
Sure.
And I have to get to that homepage somehow, correct?
Yes.
So is the user typing out into it or something like that?
It could have been either clicked on from a bookmark or typed in, just as intuit.com.
Okay.
Or
What
it could
about
have been clicked on from a search. If the user had used Google or Yahoo to search for something, this could have been a page that was clicked on from one of those searches.
how about a drop-down menu or a drop-down search list?
The recent search list?
Yes.
Yes, it could have been accessed that way as well.
Did device 4 have a drop-down internet search list?
Yeah, using Internet Explorer, yes, that does have the recent search list.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 843. Let me just see. You tell me if you recognize it. Again, it's Exhibit 843.
I'm not sure where this is from.
What is? Do you know what that document is, or what it?
I do not.
Max Foundation.
Well, rural, so he doesn't know.
And you've never seen that?
I have not.
Do you know if device 4 had a drop-down internet search history?
Yes, on a Windows computer using Internet Explorer, there is a recent search list.
And did you look at the recent internet search list for device 4?
Not as the recent searches.
You never looked at the recent searches on device 4?
No, that's not how we look at the visited links and
I understand.
cache.
I understand. But you could look at you imaged the hard drive, correct?
Yes,
So you can look at the recent internet searches, correct?
yes.
And did you do that?
Not that I recall specifically.
Okay. Does that document there look like the recent internet search history for device 4?
Objection, Max Foundation.
Roll plans for phenoms.
I know that this came from that particular device.
Okay, because you didn't look, correct? You didn't do.
Correct.
Okay. Now, in that, well, I'll ask you this. Can somebody click on that internet search list and you have all these different recent internet searches that were performed? Can you just click on something and then it goes to that page as opposed to typing it all out? You know what I mean? Like if it has MSN and then it has Intuit and then it has number 3, it has some other internet site. Instead of typing it out, can you just click on that?
From the recent search list,
Yes.
if you click on one of the items displayed in that list, it's going to conduct that search again. It's not going to take you to a URL of what might result in that search.
Right, but it'll take you to that site that's in the recent history, correct?
No, it'll take you to the Google or Yahoo page and search again.
Whatever that search was, it could be a site, it could be a specific page, it could be different items, correct?
It will be different items, yes.
Right, and whatever you click on, it'll go to that particular page, site, whatever it was in the internet history. Do you get my point? In other words, you don't have to type out what site you want to go to. You can just click on whatever's in the internet history.
You can click on that history, and it will conduct that search over, which will then present you with the search provider's page, giving you the list of pages that you could click on to go to that page.
Okay, so for index number 1 that you showed, that we talked about, that was for Intuit, correct?
Correct.
Now, do you know whether or not the user typed out Intuit, or did that person go to the internet history and click on a previous Intuit search?
I do not know.
Okay, but you could know that if you had looked at the internet history, could you not?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled, unanimous, unanimous.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Okay. Somehow the user got to that site that we looked at in index number 1, correct?
Correct.
How did that person get to that site, is my question to you.
I cannot tell you specifically how they went to that page.
One of the ways could be they typed out Intuit and got to the home page, correct?
Yes.
And another way is that they could have clicked on their browser searching feature and it would have dropped down a list of recent internet searches, correct?
Correct.
And I could have clicked on something that said Intuit homepage in my history, and it also could have taken me to that homepage, correct?
Not from the recent search list.
Okay, why?
Because if you had clicked on the Intuit in the recent search list, that is not going to take you to Intuit. That's going to take you to google.com and give you the search results for Intuit. At that point then, you could click on Intuit.com from the search provider, which could take you to that page.
So it's just giving us a list of options, is what you're saying, when we click on the internet history. Like if I go to that Intuit, I click on Intuit, it's going to list out different Intuit items to search. Is that correct?
I'm still a little confused. I think when you're saying internet history, you mean the recent searches?
Yes, the recent searches.
So that to me is two different things.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to keep
And I'm trying to get
what we're talking about.
And I'm trying to get my terminology correct.
All
So,
right.
yes, recent internet searches.
Okay.
So I click on a recent internet search. What am I going to get?
You're going to be searching for that item that you clicked on.
Okay. Okay. So this is what we're referring to, correct? When we click on, this is QuickBooks Online, correct?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, this is Exhibit 832. And you testified to this on direct. If I click in the recent internet searches, and I don't have to type out QuickBooks Online, right? I can actually, if it's in the internet, recent internet searches, I can just click on QuickBooks Online, correct? And I may get something similar to what we're seeing here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then I can go further by clicking on one of these items, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's just stick with the online. This is Exhibit 832 online, QuickBooks Online. Do you know whether the user in this particular case clicked on one of those options and went further on?
No, from what we have here, I cannot say whether or not somebody clicked on any of these links.
Okay, so when council was talking about this was accessed, the actual site itself for, let's say, QuickBooks customization or whatever the options were, those were never accessed. Is that accurate?
I cannot say whether or not the user clicked on any of these links.
Is that because you don't know or because it didn't happen?
Because I don't know.
Okay, but you do have your internet artifacts list, correct, from this device?
Correct.
If those pages were actually clicked, would it not be listed in this internet artifacts list?
Under the visited links, yes.
But we didn't see that, did we?
We did see Intuit.com was accessed, but I can't say whether or not it was accessed by clicking on this search page or not.
Okay, so it could the user could have got there in some other way.
Yes.
Okay. Gunnar, did you say you had to break?
Yes, unfortunately, I have a dentist appointment today. I'd rather be here. But it's not going to solve anything by putting it off. So we're going to break a little bit early today. There were a couple of scheduling issues with some of the attorneys and myself for next week. So we're not going to be in session on Monday. And Tuesday is a holiday, courts are closed. So we're not going to come back until Wednesday. I'm sure your employers will be happy to hear that you'll actually be able to make an appearance at work. So we're going to recess now until next Wednesday morning at 9:30 in the morning. Again, keep in mind the admonitions previously given to you, not to form or express any opinions about the case, not to discuss the case or allow anyone to discuss the case with you or in your presence, and we'll see all of you back Wednesday at 9:30. Subpoenaed records that the defense had subpoenaed pursuant to a subpoena DT from JP Morgan Chase Bank, custodian of records. And we have a return with some documents, and then the second subpoena DT to MVAC Systems. Attention Jerry Bradley with a return with a packet of documents. And so the court will release those to defense counsel.
Thank you.
And then we'll see everyone Wednesday morning.